So, I'm assuming you're a college student based on the fact that you clicked on this video here. So what I'm going to be talking about today are the best jobs for people who are in college looking to maybe afford maybe something more than ramen noodles and just random stuff like soda. You know, maybe you want to afford some decent healthy food. Maybe you want a little bit of money to pitch in for a keg, whatever your plan is here. But if you're looking to make a little bit more than a minimum wage, these are going to be some of the highest paying jobs based on payscale.com. But before I get into those jobs, I just wanted to talk about a couple of factors you should consider when you're looking to find a job when you're in college. But first, let's talk about college in a nutshell. So this is basically the way I see college is. You got these four segments here. One is your grades. The second is your sleep. The third is your social life, and the fourth is your money. You basically can pick two. So if your focus is on your social life and your sleep, you're probably not going to have very good grades or a lot of money. If you want to have money and good grades, your sleep and your social life are probably going to be sacrificed. So you kind of have to determine what it is you're looking to do in college. If you're looking for that college experience, maybe the social life is more important to you than having money at that time. So just for my own personal experience, when I was in school, I only had classes 4 days a week, and I was able to work Friday, Saturday, Sundays. And what I did is I worked full-time on the summer. So I saved up as much money as I could over the summer, and then I lived basically as simply as possible while I was in college. I didn't go out much. I spent very little money. I made my coffee at home. I did whatever I could to save money and just ride out the semester. And I was at the point where I was only spending like $100 a week. So if a semester was like 15 or so weeks. So if I could save up like $1,500, I could make it through that whole semester without having to get a job. And then one of my semesters too, it was around Christmas time, and I just got a part-time job working in retail because I needed something to do. I was kind of bored. But that job paid me like $8 an hour, and I had to drive 20 minutes to get there, and my shifts were like 3 or 4 hours. So in hindsight, after I paid taxes, I probably was just about breaking even by the time I got something to eat while I was at work and paid for my gas. So that's something to consider as well. But anyways, what are the factors to consider when you're looking for a job in college? Number one is your location. So do you actually have a car on campus? Do you have a means of transportation? How much are you spending on gas? So like I said, for my situation, I was probably spending more on gas than I was even making at this job. If you're walking, so let's say you have to walk to get to your job, will weather affect your reliability? So if you're going to school somewhere where you get a lot of snow or a lot of rain and you can't walk to work, what are you going to do? Will you be able to take a bus, or will you just have to call in and not be able to go to work? So that's something to consider as well. What is your schedule? So will your hours at work change? Are you going to be on call with this job? Will the hours be too demanding for you and your schoolwork and your grades are going to suffer? Because the name of the game here, guys, when you're in college is to get your grades. That's your main focus, is doing good in school. So don't make your focus be making money while you're in school, because the idea is to increase your skill level, have more skills, and be able to make more money when you get out of school than you would just somebody coming out of high school. So your focus shouldn't be on saving up a ton of money while you're in college. You should be getting as good of grades as possible while making it by, and maybe saving a little bit of money in the process too. Okay, so the pay. Is the job for the pay, the experience, or for the passion? I know that seems kind of funny, but some people have jobs they're just passionate about that they want to do. For me, I've always wanted to be a barista, work at like a coffee shop. I've never done it before, and at some point in my life, I want to work as a barista. I don't care how much money I make. I don't care if I don't make any money, but it's just something I've always wanted to do because I've always wanted to learn about that. So maybe you're in a situation where you just want to do a job because you're passionate about it or you're curious about that work. So that's something to consider as well. Will you be making enough money? So if you have to pay for tools and gas and food, will this job pay you enough money? And the unfortunate thing is, most of these jobs that pay minimum wage, it might not be enough money to pay for your food and for your books and things like that. Can you make money off campus? Will you be able to make more money off campus? So a lot of the times, I do have on this list here jobs on campus, but a lot of these times these campus jobs don't pay very well because a lot of people want them. And maybe even going a couple miles off campus, you might be able to make more money doing that. So it's not as convenient. You might have to commute to that job, but it might be worth it to make a little bit more money. And then you should consider your career. So is this job relevant to your desired career? And if that's the case, will it look good on your resume? And is low or no pay worth the work experience? So I actually at one point had an unpaid internship where I worked as an unpaid intern, And I drove there a couple times a week, worked for 3 hours, didn't get paid anything. And it ended up turning into a paid internship the following summer, which was good because it paid very well. And that was good for me, but I had to put in that initial work to basically, make a name for myself and get that paid internship and get that resume experience. And I had to sacrifice the pay for the short term. So it might be worth it to get a job just for the experience for your resume. And then you have to consider as well your experience. So maybe you have some special skills or things that you could use to get paid more. And you should also consider, if you're applying for a job, are you underqualified where you know you can make more money somewhere else? Or I'm sorry, are you overqualified where you can make more money somewhere else? Or are you totally underqualified and just wasting your time? You don't want to be wasting all of your time applying for jobs that you know you're not qualified for. Alright, so these would be the best jobs as a college student. And these pays that I have on here, these hourly wages, that's all based on payscale.com. So obviously that may not be completely accurate depending on where you live. And these other ones here, the pay just varies so significantly that there's no real way to guess. But these would be like the 5 jobs I'd recommend if you're looking to make more than minimum wage in college. So number 1 is a massage therapist. This is kind of an interesting one. Now there are some upfront costs associated with this job because you have to get a certification. And if you're doing it for yourself, so if you have your own business, there may be some tools and material you have to buy. I'm sure you'd have to buy one of those portable massage tables. But it is something that pays very well. Now I would imagine, I've never done this myself, but I would imagine this is very difficult work because it's very labor intensive. But generally, if you're working for someone as a massage therapist, you can make $22 an hour. But if you started your own business, maybe you were a traveling massage therapist and you went to people's homes and did massages for them, I could see charging anywhere from $50 to $60 an hour, maybe even more. So if you're looking to maybe start your own business, this wouldn't be a bad idea, is to start a little side business doing massage therapy. There's just the upfront costs associated with getting that table and the equipment and the certification itself. Number 2 is a medical receptionist. Now the only downside with this is it may require daytime hours. So if you are taking classes during the day, you might not be able to do this. But if you're taking evening classes, you might be able to do this during the day, work at some kind of medical office doing reception work, and that pays on average about $14 an hour. And also, if you're in school to go into the medical field, that's also a great work experience as well. Number 3, being a nanny or a babysitter. The advantage with this is you're generally working when parents are off on dates or whatever. So that's probably going to be nights and weekends. So if you're taking classes during the day, that's the times when you would be available anyway. And for this, you can set your rate, but the average was about $13 an hour. But if you're a babysitter for some rich family, maybe they're going to pay you $20 an hour. You never know. Or if you're taking the kids on, taking them out to go somewhere, going to get ice cream or whatever, they'll probably pay you more. They'll pay you for gas to go do activities with the kids. So you might make more money doing that. And the other advantage to that too is if you're babysitting, as soon as those kids go to bed, you can double dip and just start hitting the books and getting paid to study at this person's house while you're just keeping an eye on things. So that's not a bad idea either. Number 4, being a bookkeeper or a tax preparer. Now this might require some experience. Maybe you'd have to be in school to become, or you're in school with a math major, or you're looking to become an accountant. So maybe there's some work experience that this would require. But this would be great because you could familiarize yourself with taxes, which is something that's great to know as an adult. And when you're starting to pay taxes, or maybe you're trying to start your own business and you want to learn more about taxes. But that pays on average about $13 an hour as well, which is significantly more than minimum wage. Number 5 is a bank teller. Now this job probably doesn't pay as much as these others, but maybe $11 an hour, somewhere around there. I have a couple of friends of mine who actually do this now. They're bank tellers. It's relatively easy work. Not a whole lot to it. It can get kind of boring at times, but there might be some downtime as well where you could be studying or hitting the books, whatever it is that you got to do. The only problem is, you probably would have to work daytime hours with this job because most banks are open during the day. But you might be able to find a bank that has evening hours or even Saturday hours in some cases. So these other jobs here, I don't have a pay for these just because it varies so much. Number 6 is being a tutor. So you could either tutor students on the side. So maybe you are in a big program at your school and people are struggling and they're looking for somebody to tutor them. They could pay you on the side to teach them. But what's more interesting is some schools will actually pay you to be a tutor for that school. I actually had that option in my school because my grades were good. They said, hey, if you want to, we'll pay you $12 an hour to basically sit in the study room for 3 hours a day. And if there's no students in there, you can do whatever you want. You can do your own homework. But if students come in and ask you questions, you have to answer those questions for them and help them out. I didn't end up doing it just because I had long days as it is. I did 4 days a week, so my days were like 10 to 12 hours long. So I was not looking to extend my day any longer, and I really didn't need the money. But it is an interesting way to make some money, and you're working right on campus too. So if you're really good at whatever program you're in at school, you could tutor people either on the side or maybe through the school. We also had what was called like the Learning Assistance Center, where you could just go down there, and if people were good at math, they also paid you to just go down there and tutor students, and they had different tables set up based on what kind of program or what kind of course you needed help with. So maybe you're really good at math, you could sit at the calculus table and help kids do their calculus homework, and if nobody's there, work on your own stuff and get paid to be there. Number 7 is campus work. Now the only thing I'm going to say with this is typically the lowest paying jobs. But the advantage to this is you can possibly work between your classes if you have really long breaks. Or the other thing is that you don't need to commute if you're already living on campus. So you can take out all the costs associated with commuting to that job. So maybe you can work at the school bookstore, work in the cafeteria, work as a janitor. And there might be some perks associated with this job. So maybe you get a discount at the school bookstore. Maybe you get a discount on your books. Maybe you get free food if you work in the cafeteria. So consider that as well. Maybe it doesn't pay as much, but those perks might outweigh that pay. Number 8, be a waiter or a waitress or a bartender. The advantage with this is you're going to get paid generally a base salary or hourly wage, plus your tips as well. And I mean, I'm sure any of you guys who have worked in the restaurant business, you know there's some serious money to be made when you're busy and people are leaving good tips, especially if you have a good personality and you're personable. You can make a good amount of money in tips. It's very hard work though. So this isn't something that's just going to be a walk in the park. So it's probably a very demanding job. I've never done it myself, but I know people who have, and it's a tough line of work for sure, dealing with people like that. And there's also maybe some perks to this. So people I know who worked at restaurants, they always fed you if you were there longer than 4 hours. So you get a free meal out of it. So you could consider that a perk to that job. Number 9 is a barista. Like I said, this is a job that for whatever reason, at some point in my life, I would love to be a barista. It's something I want to learn. But that's a cool job too because you get paid a base salary plus the tips as well. Probably won't make as much as you would being a waiter or a waitress, but there's still probably some money to be made doing that. And it's also a great way to meet people. So maybe if you're looking to get more of a social life or you're looking to have some social interaction without, sacrificing your grades or how much money you're making, you might be able to, talk to people and make some friends at that place where you're working. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone that way. Then number 10 is to be an intern. So it can be great for the resume, especially if you're looking to get into that line of work. And the other thing is too, even if it's an unpaid internship, it could turn into a paid internship down the road. That was the case with my internship. I worked there for 1 summer unpaid, and then they hired me the next summer full-time, 40 hours a week, and I was making $14 an hour. So that was a great way for me to save up some money, and then I didn't have to work for the entire semester that following semester because I saved up enough money. So sometimes you have to consider the long-term benefit maybe better than the short-term inconvenience of not getting paid. But anyways, guys, those are the 10 jobs I'd recommend if you're looking to get a job while you're in college. I'm curious if you guys are in college. I know I have a lot of young people who watch my videos. If you're in college, what are you doing right now for a job? I'm curious what people are doing, or are you just bootstrapping it and eating ramen noodles and keeping your expenses as low as possible? I'm curious what you guys are doing. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to drop a like and consider subscribing to be notified of future uploads, and I thank you guys for watching.